So hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be talking about the Tata Steel JET exam which was conducted by Tata Steel on 15th of April 2022, and I'll be talking specifically about the Tata Steel mechanical paper because I'm from mechanical engineering background and I answered only the mechanical paper. So I'll be telling you about the do's and don'ts, what were the changes compared to previous years, what was the difficulty level of the questions, so that it would be beneficial for those who will be appearing for this exam next year or the years to come. For those who are new to this channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Rahul Patel and I'm a mechanical engineering student in the final year. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first and the foremost thing, how the exam was conducted. Earlier the exams were conducted in centers where you had to go physically and you got a question paper and you would get an OMR sheet and you would have to mark those answers, the correct answers which you feel are correct in those OMR sheets. So the change that they introduced this year was that the exam was conducted online in TCS Iron Digital Centers. So in Jamshedpur there is only one center. So the exam was conducted in two shifts, the morning shift and the afternoon shift or the evening shift. So I had a friend whose exam was from 11:30 to 1:30 and my exam was from 4 to 6. So I assume that there were only two shifts because after 1:30 there's no time for the afternoon shift. So there was only morning shift and the evening shift. So first talking about the process in which the exam was taken, the admit card was provided and there were two sheets in it. The first one was an admit card and the second one was a COVID undertaking kind of thing, a COVID undertaking kind of form. So the second page, you had to fill it up and submit it outside the Iron Digital Center. And the first one, that was your admit card, you had to take it inside. There was verification process going on the outside of the hall in which the exam was being taken, and you'll have to bring your own pen for rough work and all. Although you will not have to take your own pages and all because they'll be providing you the pages and you'll have to submit those pages at the end of the exam. You can take back your admit cards, and in your admit card 3 times will be mentioned: the reporting time, the gate closing time, and the exam beginning time. So you will have to be very punctual with it. If they say that the gate will be closing at 3:30, I'm talking about my exam, so it was mentioned that the gate will close at 3:30 and it closed at 3:30. Nobody was allowed after 3:30, so you'll have to be really punctual for it. And there was a long queue when I arrived at the center. I arrived at 3:10 and they were letting them in after verifying that the correct person is giving the exam. Now talking about the exam pattern. Earlier the pattern used to be 50% domain, 5 questions from English, 15 questions from general aptitude, and 20 questions from industry oriented learning, and likewise. So this year the pattern has completely changed. There were 80% questions from domain and 20% from industry oriented learning, and in industry oriented learning comes those topics like IoT, big data and all. So the exam was completely different from the previous years. Many people were thinking that the exam pattern would remain the same, and that is why many YouTube channels were teaching aptitude as well for the preparation. But the sample paper that Tata Steel had released earlier, there were only domain questions and IoT questions. So from there we could make out that aptitude questions will not come in the exam. That was a hint. So now talking about the difficulty level of the exam. The exam was not very difficult. There were questions such as material removal rate. We had to find out the formula for the material removal rate, where the current is given, the atomic number is given, and the atomic mass is given. So this was an easy question. Apart from that, there were many questions from fluid mechanics and thermodynamics. So these two topics were the topics which covered most of the paper, and I remember some of the questions like the impact of jet on an inclined surface, and there were questions related to turbines. There were 2 to 3 questions from production engineering, 2 to 3 questions from automobile. So every topic was covered, 2-3 questions from everywhere, and most of the questions were from thermodynamics and fluid mechanics. These two topics had almost like, if you combine these two topics, the weightage was almost 40 to 50%. So if you do these two topics, I think it will be easier for you to clear this exam. Now talking about the marking scheme, for each correct answer 1 mark was awarded, and for each incorrect answer 1/3 of marks were deducted, 0.33 marks. So if you do not know the answers, don't mark the incorrect answers. if I talk about my attempts, I made 73 attempts, of which 60 I was sure, and 13 I guessed those answers because I thought that, yeah, if the answers were really close to what you think, you can mark them. But if they are deviating a lot, do not risk your, the marks you have earned. That is what I would suggest. And I don't know if I'll be able to clear the exam or not, but I would suggest you that if you're not confident on an answer, don't mark it. So the level of the exam was similar to the SSC JE or RRB JE kind of papers. There was a 70% theory and 30% numerical kind of thing, which is quite similar to those SSC papers, SSC JE papers. So if you're preparing for SSC JE or RRB JE or GATE or IES, then you'll easily be able to clear this exam. This is something which I think, because you'll have all your formulas mugged up, and most of the questions were based on the formulas. And another suggestion that I would like to give you is don't focus much on IoT, because IoT is a vast syllabus, and you have to know the basics of it, but not dive deep into it, because it is a vast topic. And if you dive deep into it, you'll be wasting a lot of your time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you like this video. If you have any doubts or if you have any queries, you can comment it down in the comment section. I will surely replying to your comments. So until next time, goodbye.